Hello, it's Dan, the real estate guy. We're at another location. This property is called Danbrook. This is a condominium in the Thomas area, north of the main downtown Sacramento. This is another property that I purchased wholesale. I paid $86,800 for this property. I have the comps right here, which would indicate a value of somewhere around $120,000. The work has just been completed. We have fresh paint. The carpet's all cleaned up, the kitchen's all nice and clean. Pretty much the unit is now ready for the retail market and will be listed in just a few days on the market. But another example in the numbers. Remember, we've talked about I have two ways once I purchase these properties. I have two ways to profit and move on. One of them would be what I'm going to do here, which is go on the retail market at retail value and wait for a retail buyer. However, sometimes I get contacted by investors that want to be wholesale buyers. They're not ready to purchase at the trustee sales. Perhaps that's just too dangerous for them. I don't recommend it for new folks. So they kind of network with other people who pay cash at the steps, the courthouse steps, and then they're ready to buy them from us. And this way they get to open an escrow, see the inside of the property. These are all things you don't get to do if you risk your money at a trustee sale. They get to get title insurance. They get to inspect the property, see what it needs in work. When you purchase at a trustee sale like I did, you just take a risk. I had no idea the condition of this property inside. And I know that sounds scary, but just from experience, I'm able to make a pretty good guess. Now on this property, it turned out to be vacant. We weren't sure. Thought it could be vacant, but indications were there were lights on, things like that. We weren't positive. Turned out the person had left, walked away from this property, went to sale. I purchased it for $86,000. I guess it was $86,800, and I'll sell it for around $120,000 to $122,000 on the retail market. Now, this story's been repeating itself all over the country, but let's go through the numbers. This property sold for $290,000. I have the county record in front of me. $290,000 in the 9th month of 2005. As we may have discussed, in this boom and then this amazing boom and then this bust, it was fairly obvious to experienced investors like myself that it had to fall. We all tried to guess how much it would fall, but it really did fall more than a lot of us thought. Remember, to contrast, the last boom and bust that I worked was the 90s, where property values fell 24%. This amazing drop this time from 290 all the way to 120,000. Amazing opportunity for those folks who are getting into this type of business. They should be fairly safe buying at these levels. Some people think it could go down more. However, my thoughts are the lower end, and that's why I did this transaction. The lower end just has less room to fall. I mean, there's plenty of buyers in the $120,000 range. Of course, there's challenges when you have a condo. There are things that we'll talk about in one entire video on condominiums, but basically you have to check things like how much is the dues? Are they running the property well with that dues? You'd be surprised sometimes they have a high dues, but they don't look so sharp. This one's very sharp. It looks brand new. So the grounds are well maintained, nice swimming pool, really nice clubhouse, very modern and very nice. So this property will go on the market a little bit later this week. Let's talk about that other way. I'm going to go retail. If I had a customer that wanted to wholesale buy this from me, what would I charge? I always have to leave him room to make profit, right? They have to profit or they won't come back and buy another one. But for me, if I was going to wholesale this, I'd still look for a 6 or 7% return on my $86,000. If we use 7% as an example, I would have wholesaled this to someone right after the deed showed up, which would have been 7 to 10 days after I purchased it. I would record that deed. The buyer would have already had time to look at this property, make sure it's what they want, compute their fix-up costs, and make sure they're happy with the purchase price of about $92,800. They would then fix up the property. I only had to spend about $2,400, between $2,400 and $2,500 to get this ready. So it was not an expensive cleanup in this case. They would have had their due diligence. They would have known that's about what their fix-up cost, or maybe they would have done the work themselves and saved a little bit of money. But bottom line, I would be okay on making $6,000 in a 2 to 3 week period versus what I'm going to do, which is make around $20,000 profit over a 3-month period perhaps. It could go a little faster, it could go a little slower. We'll talk about that in a video titled Industry Problems. There are some things going on right now in my industry which may require me to hold this property more than 90 days before I close. Alright, so there you have it, a nice little property. You notice it's dead quiet in here, very nice property, tucked away north of Sacramento, easy drive to the downtown. So remember, we always talk about multiple ways to succeed. If the market came apart right now, I could rent this property. This would be an easy property to rent and be able to have a tenant that perhaps works downtown, has a good job. They can get there from here in less than 10 minutes. So location's important. You've probably heard that your whole real estate career. Location, location, location. That's just one factor of many, and we'll go into that in other videos. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next property. Did you have it on? That thing?
Yeah,
I saw you checking it. Yeah.